Yeah, obviously, tough couple of days. Not how I wanted to go out, but just trying to stay positive and just be very thankful for all of this. And I've gotten to experience a lot of things that most kids could never dream of, and I'm very, very thankful for that. And I'm very thankful that I came to a place like Clemson because if I could do it over again 10 out of 10 times, I would come here. And I just really appreciate everybody who's reached out and supported me over these past couple of days, and that's really, really lifted my spirits.
Matt, what does Clemson mean to you?
If I were to sit here and talk about what Clemson means to me in totality, we'd be sitting here for a long time. I came here as a kid from Ohio who just wanted to think outside the box and be a part of something special. And what was to ensue, I could have never imagined. And I just remember sitting there on my official visit as a recruit. And it was the 2016 Team National Championship Parade. And just sitting there in the seats in front of the stage while all those guys got to speak. I considered to myself, I wonder if one day I'm going to be able to do that. And, sorry. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and it's really hard to swallow, but I cared a lot about this team, and I still do, and I'm going to do everything I can to finish strong. And I know that during this year, a challenging year, that it's been very easy for people to jump ship and criticize, but this team hasn't splintered, and we've had every reason to. We've had all the adversity in the world. We've had a hard time on the field and injuries and you name it, but this team hasn't splintered and is not going to quit on one another. And I would hope that the fan base doesn't either. And I know that the great majority of people are supporting us and love us and want to see us do well, and I really appreciate that. No, I don't. I thought I wanted to be a college coach, and then I became a college football player. Those guys work a lot of hours, and obviously I've got a tremendous amount of respect for our coaches and everything that they do for us. And I think a lot of people get wrapped up and see a dollar figure attached to what you could make. But there's so much that precedes that being a GA and having to move often. We've been incredibly lucky here at Clemson to have continuity in our coaching staff, which is not the norm by a mile. And just for me, I love the game of football. I will always love the game of football, but I don't see that in my future at this point. I mean, never say never, but right now I just don't see it.
What do you envision your role being the rest of the way as player coach, like in that way?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's tough, and moving around on crutches is not ideal, and it's hard. But the bottom line is, I still have to be here for the guys, and I have to be a leader as much as I can. And being on crutches isn't ideal. Well, a lot of this situation isn't ideal, but that's where we are. And just being at practice, being in meetings when I can be, and just trying to encourage and get guys to play the way that we're capable of playing is what I'm going to try to do. And, we have it. It's there. We're so close, but it just has not shown up yet. And it's incredibly frustrating for us. I know it's incredibly frustrating for the fans, and we're doing what we can to fix it because this is not what we're used to. When you look at the talent of our roster, we know that we're capable of so much more. And so anything that I can do to assist in the transition and the maturation of this team, that's what I'm going to do.
Talk about you guys were making progress and literally scored a touchdown when the plays were down. What do you remember going through your mind?
It hurt. It hurt bad, and physically and just emotionally, it hurt. And I kind of knew that something was wrong. And unfortunately, I have a good deal of experience with knee issues. And before I went into the locker room, I kind of knew that was probably my last snap. And that is very hard to accept. It's tough because you go in there and you get all cleaned up and they look at you, and then you're just watching from a TV or in the second half from the sideline, and it's just kind of a helpless feeling because it's not something that you can control, but in a way you just feel like you let your team down. And I've always wanted to give to my teammates what I've expected them to give me, and that's everything. And to sit there and watch and see them struggling and just the missed opportunities and coulda, shoulda, woulda is very hard to watch. And it's part of the game, and it's something that I have to come to terms with about my career coming to an end. And I'm not going to quit on this team, and I know the guys that get to play on the field aren't going to quit either. And it's a tough time for all of us.
You said you want to do whatever you can to help this team. How do you view your role? What do you think you can do to help them?
Yeah, I mean, I think just from a mental aspect, that's something that I've always prided myself on is just being a student of the game and understanding the details. And for young players, that is hard. It was hard for me as a young player. And it's not like I was some anomaly. It's just something that I made an emphasis to work at. And so just being there to point out small details, the hard part about coaching offensive line is that it's such a big group and there's 5 players playing at one time. So to be able to coach every single player in detail is a real challenge, and that's why we do have a lot of support staff and typically always have a GA and things of that nature. But as many eyes as we can get on it, the better. And then just from a encouragement and morale standpoint, I've always tried to do the right things in the correct time and place. Sometimes it's laughter, sometimes it's getting people fired up. And sometimes it's having a serious conversation. But just being that, on that side of things with every other thing that goes along with playing football and what it means to be a team, and just trying to still be the glue that holds it together. And luckily we've got a lot of great other leaders on this team. And I know offensively we're searching for some guys to step up from a vocal standpoint, but we have guys that are about the right thing. So I'm just trying to be there and still remain a presence despite my inability to play.
Who are you going to try to lean on through all this?
My family. Sorry, I promise I wouldn't cry, but my family has been there for me since day one. And they have loved and supported me every step of the way. And I've always tried to make them proud. And, it's times like these when you realize who you have by your side. And I know it was incredibly devastating for my parents who were at the game. And they know how much I've sacrificed and everything that I've been through. And just, it's tough. And I know that they're there for me and would do anything for me. And And that's what being a family is about, and not just my immediate family, but also everyone that is in this facility, because we're a family too, and families stick together in the good times and most importantly in the bad. And you know, the relationships that I've developed during my time here are relationships that will seriously last a lifetime. And I know that that term is used a lot, but I say that in all seriousness. And I think about the coaches and the teammates, yes, but so many other people, and just so many people in the background, so many people that you guys probably don't even know exist. But there's so many people that contribute to Clemson football and the machine that runs every week. And I think about guys like DJ Gordon and Mike Dooley, who do an unbelievable job of coordinating our travel. And without them, surely this would not work. And our bus driver, Marion, who has to sit there and listen to my crude jokes every week. People like that I truly appreciate. And I have been just so overwhelmed by the support that I've gotten. It has really, really lifted me up. And, you know, anytime you go somewhere, you want to leave it better than you found. And I just really hope that I've been able to do that, because, you know, this place has meant so much to me and given me so many opportunities and taken me so many places that, I mean, it's incredible. And I've tried to reflect on all of the positives over these past couple of days, because, you know, this experience has been one in a million. And obviously the big one, winning the national championship, is something that forever bonds us. But so many more things have gone on, and so many teammates of mine that I have the utmost respect for, and guys that I just really believe in and respect as men. And to come to a place like this, you know, they say where champions meet, and this is truly an environment of champions. And I just feel incredibly lucky to have been a part of that.
You mentioned the offense is still kind of searching for those local leaders. And the offensive line specifically, who do you expect are going to be some of those guys in your absence to step up?
You know, I mean, it's tough because leadership is not always easy, and it comes with a price. And in a time like this, there's no better time to be a leader, because we need it. And it's very easy to be a leader when you're 15-0. How about when you're 4-3? Because that really shows what type of person you are and the commitment you have to this program. And so as far as who I expect, I mean, obviously Jordan McFadden has been, if not the most consistent player, easily one of the most consistent players on this team this season. And he was extremely consistent last year, and he's an incredible player and teammate and a great guy. And I think that Jordan absolutely has the ability and potential and personality to step up and be that guy. And you know, I look at a guy like Will Putnam too, who's a very close friend of mine, and at this point, Putnam's got a lot of experience under his belt, and you know, he is no longer the young guy. And I know that he realizes the manner in which he has to step up, and I think he's ready for the challenge. I think that collectively as an offensive line, look, we're getting thin quick, and it's tough because it's hard when you're switching the lineup every week. Obviously this week, another new lineup. It's very hard, and I think collectively as a group we need to be vocal leaders, and we need to be the guys that are so adamant about communication and about leading the way and setting the tempo of the offense. And you know, the great thing about team sports is that when one individual or one group is struggling, another individual or another group can pick them up and erase their mistakes. And it's been hard this year as an offense, because it seems like if the offensive line is playing well, then maybe outside we aren't playing up to the standard, or vice versa. You know, they've been playing really well at receiver, but the O-line just hasn't been quite getting the job done, can't keep DJ upright. And I think as a whole, obviously this year the defense has really stepped up, and special teams as well in a big way. And so that's what it means to be a team. And in an ideal scenario, we would all be firing on all cylinders and scoring a lot of points and not letting the other team score that many. But unfortunately, the reality this year, that's not been the case. And, we need to work towards that and playing complementary football in all three phases. And there's a lot that goes into that, but, it starts with each guy on the offensive line holding each other accountable, the offensive line holding the other segments accountable, the quarterback taking charge. It starts from the inside out. And then you see those wholesale changes where the offense is clicking and the defense is clicking, and then we bring all three phases together, and then next thing you know, we're putting together those games that we're all used to. So there's a lot that goes into it, but at the core, it starts with each individual and go from there.
Man, you spoke about how much your parents mean to you and that you'll lean on them. I'm just curious what that moment was like when you saw them for the first time after the injury.
Just devastating. You just look your mother in the eyes and just know that she hurts for you. And like I said, I can't even explain the amount of sacrifices that my parents have made for me. And even just the amount of times I get to see my parents. They live 7 hours away, and I see them almost every weekend, in season and the off season. And my parents have become part of Clemson family, and my little brother is a freshman, and Clemson football means something to them. They're so invested in this, and my dad knows what it's like to put on the pads and give it your all, and he knows that the game has meant so much to me, and I'm very thankful that I had that opportunity to share that moment with him, and I also want to thank Thad Turnhamseed, who spent all day Saturday with me, and that's another person who might not be in the limelight, but somebody who I appreciate. And for him to take the time and be there with me and make sure I wasn't alone and communicate with my parents is something that I will never forget. And it's hard. It's very hard to experience this, but like I said, to have my family by my side is what matters in the end.
Talked about knowing that was probably your last snap. I mean, is it a personal decision just because you want to go through it again, or is it you just physically
Well, so I know Coach Swinney mentioned it a little bit, but I've had 4 surgeries on my left knee, and now this is going to be my 5th knee surgery. First on my right knee, and just, sooner or later you can only take so much. And it's part of the game. It's the risk you run, and it's unfortunate because it's just you just can't control it. And from a mental standpoint, it takes a lot out of you, and to go through that and go through the rehab and get ready to play again, and then it just seems like every year it's just over and over and over again. And yes, I would have the 6th year it's available, but I just obviously from a physical standpoint, but just mentally, I've gave it everything I had, and it's my time. It doesn't make it any easier. I've cried my fair share of tears, obviously, but it's just something that I think is the best decision for me, and just my life, and just looking long term. I think that I've done here everything I can, and I've made it almost 5 years, so that's a lot longer than a lot of guys, and like I said, I've just tried to be extremely thankful for the time I have had. but I have come to the realization that that was my last snap, and it is what it is, and it's a tough way to go out. But.
Anything on Zoom for Matt?
Hey, Buck, it's Trevor Gross from CUTigers.com. Thanks for doing this. I know how difficult it must be for you. Just want to know, you're a national champion, all the ACC championships, all the streaks. You're part of the longest home win streak in Clemson history. What are some of the moments, the big moments, you'll take with you from the field? I'm sure there are a lot more off the field. What are some of the moments that stick out on the field?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you mentioned it. All the championships, when the confetti's flying, that's a good feeling. To be a part of a program like this, where we've seen such a high level of success, is an absolute privilege, and I feel very fortunate to have been a contributor on the field, and to play alongside some incredible players, and most importantly, some incredible guys. That's what matters the most. And Coach Swinney says it all the time. It's not about those mountaintop moments. It's about the journey, and that really is true. Because as much as those games and all of those great times were awesome moments, the things I remember are the bus rides and those tough summer conditioning sessions when you just want to quit, but you can't, because you got all these guys next to you and you just don't want to let them down. The trips to the lake during fall camp, that feeling after the spring game when you're finished up with spring practice. There's just a lot. And I'll remember it for the rest of my life.
Thanks, Buck.
Anything else for Matt? Bob, thank you, man.
I just got one more thing to say, actually. I realize that this is probably the last time that I'm going to be speaking in front of you members of the media in this nature, and so I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you. It's very unfortunate that oftentimes players and coaches kind of get pitted against the media, and I'm sure there's been times that I've said things that you all probably might disagree with or don't endorse, but my experience with each member of the media during my time here has been absolutely incredible, and I have a very high amount of respect for each one of you and the way you do your job. And I'm sure I'll bump into you each individually from time to time, but I just wanted to take the moment to say thank you guys for everything you do for us, and the support you have for this program. And I know at times it's been frustrating, but I know that we all want the same thing at the end, and that's for everyone to succeed and do well. So I just want to say thank you guys.